Hey everyone, it is Grant Winsauer and Michael Rapola, and we're back here on the Bear Clock Cast. Sorry that we didn't have a post game podcast last week, but that loss was too depressing for us to talk about. So I didn't feel better till Wednesday. I mean, sadly, I did find out some little sad news right before the Bears game. I applied to work at the Daily Illini, the paper for my college, and I got rejected. And I found out 20 minutes before the Bears game, so I was already pissed off at that point. And then the first drive goes great, and then it just goes all the way downhill from there. But so I didn't have a great beginning of my week for this past week, but we're gonna start doing the post game podcast Monday, and also we figured out with Jack that he can only join us on the post game podcast because he is either most of the time visiting his girlfriend or going to his brother's football games. But he will be here in some capacity starting Monday. So look out for that, which will be probably around 4 o'clock on Mondays from now on. But oh my God, that was the game started out great on Monday night, but just let's start with let's get with it. um you know Caleb went 10 for 10 on the first drive, which was great, but didn't have necessarily great downfield throws, which is a big problem for me. And I mean, I liked that he did go through his reads, but I mean, you can't throw your check down every play, and he was throwing his check down a lot. But let's look at the positives here, positives and negatives for the game. A big positive is the Bears' offensive line only gave up 2 sacks, which
It's big.
last year we would have given up 6 to 7 probably. So the offensive line is well improved for sure, but penalties kicked our ass so much. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to um to to be a part of so many penalties later and all that stuff. So it was, and we'll figure it out. So hopefully that goes well. But next, I mean, on the flip side, until the fourth quarter, the defense made fun of JJ McCarthy, which is awesome. But he won Player of the Week on one good quarter of football, which is insane. I don't like that, and that's my negative of the game for the Bears. I mean, we did get a couple of sacks and a pick six and all that stuff, and yet we still lost. Um, what are your thoughts, Michael? What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so penalties, they kicked our ass. That was bad. I mean, what, we had like 150 yards in penalties?
I think it was like 125, something like that. Yeah, it was.
Either
It
way,
was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
that's how you lose football games. And it showed there we lost football games because of penalties. Yeah, our Caleb looked good the first drive, but then he shit the bed. And then our defense, I will say this though, our defense looked good up until that Tyreek Stevenson, or not Tyreek Stevenson. The
Uh,
fourth quarter. The fourth quarter when I think Tyreek Stevenson got like 2 penalties in the fourth quarter,
mm-hmm.
and that's when they kind of just like started
Going
scoring the
downhill.
touchdowns. Yeah, that was bad. And then I love the guy. Cairo Santos, man. Oh my
Yeah,
god. Why
he
can't he
can't.
kick more than
He
40?
can't kick.
He can't kick the ball more than 40 yards. I love the guy, but he Ben Johnson tells him to kick it out of bounds on the or kick it over the end zone.
Out of the end zone. Yeah,
He can't do that.
he can't do that.
How how are you an NFL kicker and can't do that? Every NFL kicker can do that. So that's my big takeaways. But
Yeah,
it's it's what I thought Caleb looked decent up in the first drive, and then he's gotta trust his receivers a little more. I think he's just a little too impatient, but then also like very patient sometimes, where he has to throw the check down. But also our receivers weren't getting open. I don't know if you look like the only
I
one that
didn't
got
watch
open
like
that.
the all 22 or something like that, but I read a lot of stuff on Twitter
Yeah, like
that said that.
we weren't getting open whatsoever. So that's also a big reason why he had to throw the check down because no one was open. But
Yeah. Um, you know, but then then another thing that killed us was our run game was non-existent. Which when you don't have a run game, you can't have a pass game either. So that doesn't help us. Uh, Ben Johnson was asked, is he gonna start calling more run plays for Kyle Monangai, and he said yes, he's gonna start doing that, and I'm all for that because I know that we only had a small sample size with him in the preseason, but from what I saw, I loved it. I mean, the kid's great. I think if he can be better than Swift, I think he should be the lead back from now on if he can. And there's something that we need to consider here. So when DeAndre Swift was signed to us, first of all, he came from Philadelphia. Philadelphia has the best offensive line in the NFL. I don't care who anyone says, who what everyone says. It the best offensive line is the Philadelphia Eagles because they have always like drafted backups upon backups for their offensive line, and they just develop them in the best way possible. And so DeAndre Swift, when he signed here, he's coming off a 1,000-yard season behind the Eagles' offensive line, and Ryan Poles thought that he could replicate that here. It's pretty evident that even with this much improved offensive line, he can't because a lot of his flaws when he was in Philadelphia were masked by the offensive line that he had in Philadelphia. And we don't have that same offensive line, so it's never going to be the same. And so he signed a 3-year deal, but the third year is a void year. So I don't imagine him being here past this year. As much as people are gonna say it's only week 2, why are you giving up on DeAndre Swift? I mean, he wasn't that great last year. I mean, he had 850 yards and 6 touchdowns and 350 yards in receiving. When you're a quality RB1, you have 1,000 rushing yards before you factor in your receiving yards. So that's my take on DeAndre. So I think he's out after this year, and I don't want to necessarily say that um, that I know what we're gonna do in with uh, our future first round draft pick, but there is one really good running back that I hope the Bears are looking at from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love. He's projected to be a mid, or at least from what I've seen, he's been taken at like 15 through 17. And right now, we are probably earlier than that, but if we can get a 9-8 season, that puts us right in that in that wheelhouse, but it also depends on the season that he has, you know. But right now, he's the RB1 of this draft class. What are your thoughts on DeAndre Swift and all that stuff and
Yeah. So Swift didn't look that bad. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think he looked bad at all. It's the problem is with him is when he's running, he'll he'll like kind of like stop for a sec and then make the read. He kind of plays like Le'Veon Bell. That's not good. That makes sense.
mm-hmm,
Like you know how Le'Veon Bell was. He
right.
went up behind his offensive line, then made the read off there. That's what Swift tries to do, and then just makes the wrong read every time.
Yeah, because I did see some plays from the highlights in the all 22s, and there were some holes that were pretty big that Swift just hit too late. You
Yeah,
know, if he hit them right away, he would have gotten a 5 yard gain or around that. And all that matters in Ben Johnson's offense is that you get positive yards, pretty much. But let's actually talk about that. So everyone's talking about how the offense didn't look the greatest. Week one of Ben Johnson's tenure as the head coach of the Bears. Let's take a let's take a deep breath here. With how complex that Ben Johnson's offense can be, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get adjusted to his offense. So I was actually like disappointed when I found out we had a week 5 bye, but I actually think that it's good now because we can figure out what works well and what doesn't work well during that 5 week bye, and then just run a lot more of those plays in the future. So I mean, I know that Bears fans and us included are going to want this to be a hot start, but first year head coaches never get off to a hot start. I mean, it's just inevitable that their first year is going to be that build up year kind of, and we might need to be okay with a 9-8 season as long as, and in my personal opinion, as long as we have a winning record, I'm I'm excited just because going from Eberflus to this is much better. But what are your thoughts on that, Michael?
yeah. So my thing with the offense is I don't like Caleb's first reads in that offense because his first reads I don't know if you saw, but it was all like the short routes. So that's why he was throwing it so like that's why it wasn't like getting open, and then no one else was open because it seemed like in the offense our tight ends Komet and Loveland, it seemed like they just had dead routes, like they were not getting the ball.
Yeah,
So
they
that's
did
why
not
they
get involved. I will admit that.
like
That's a problem.
it just looked like dead routes. I don't know. It seemed like there was like two routes that were actually going, and then the rest were just dead routes. Like, but
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, part of me also is thinking that maybe Ben Johnson is easing him into his offense.
yeah,
I'm not trying to give him excuses, but maybe things pick up this week, or stuff like that, because actually in in a press conference, Ben Johnson did kind of guarantee that the Bears will win on Sunday, on or tomorrow. I hope he's right, because I will admit the Lions on last Sunday looked like crap,
hmm
and I don't think you can turn into you can turn a week one dud into Superman the next week. So I do think that we actually win. That we actually have better chance at winning than people think. I understand that the Lions are still the Lions, and they probably will still be the juggernaut of the NFC North.
No,
Maybe,
it's the team we don't like, unfortunately.
yeah, it is now. It pains us to say that, but the the Packers are going to be a problem. But I was talking with my dad about this yesterday when I gave him a phone call on his way home from work. Um, Micah Parsons is getting epidural shots for his back, and I'm sure that everyone knows what that means. But if for the people that don't, that means that he's basically getting shots like for when women give birth. An epidural is for the pain when uh, they give birth, and that must be really bad if that's his course of treatment. So, but I mean, I wish. Why is the juggernaut of the NFC North always the Packers?
Uh, we had our year. We had our year.
Yes, we did. We
We
had
had our 1 year.
one year, and I cherish that year forever because we all hate Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he did
Um.
beat us week 1 though of that year.
Oh, yes, he did.
They had to come
Yes,
back.
he did.
They had to come
Yes,
back on
because
us.
he got hurt. He got hurt in the first half. Comes back in the second half and does Superman shit and does everything right. And
Yeah, it's
that was the game that Khalil Mack had the pick six and everything like that. Oh my god, man! I miss Khalil Mack,
I do
but
too.
but I will admit, Dio Yingbo didn't have that bad of a
No,
game.
he surprised me. That was my
I
biggest surprise.
I was very surprised with that. But also, part of me thinks that it was the inexperience of JJ McCarthy. So
Yeah, but
we'll see.
he got back there. Like he surprised me. That was my biggest surprise of last game.
But I think this week is going to be like a true test of can he be the partner that Sweat needs. But Montez Sweat didn't look that great last week either.
No,
But let's get into the pregame matchup for this week. So, uh, again, we mentioned that they did not look good last week, but it was also against the Packers defense. But it looked really bad, really bad. I mean, it just goes to show how inexperienced John Morton is in play calling because I mean John Morton had 1 year where he called plays for the Jets like 3 or 4 years ago, and it looked really bad. It looked really bad. Um, but there are some very important things that we will be getting back. So TJ Edwards and Jalen Johnson are good to go. They will be giving our defense an extra boost this week. Now, on the flip side to that, we are going to be out without Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon is still dealing with his hamstring issue. I'm hoping that we get to see him in week 3 against the Cowboys. But hamstring issues are
I,
lingering issues.
yeah.
So
Honestly, if he's not back by next week, you just sit him till the bye. In
probably
my
that's
opinion,
probably that's
just
probably
because
a good course of action.
yeah, just because you can't risk that. Hamstring injuries are messed up. So I would
Yeah.
just sit him if he's not good. If he's not 100% with for the Cowboys game, you don't. You just wait till the bye.
Yeah. So Amon Ra St. Brown sadly does run most of his routes out of the slot, so he will definitely be missed on Sunday. But Dennis Allen's defense did considerably well without them last Sunday, so I think we will be fine without him. But I hope we can get him back soon. So so on the flip side to our injuries, the Lions are without Trevor Nowaski. He's a linebacker for the Lions. Sion Vakey is doubtful. I have no idea if I said his name right. I hope no Lions players watch this. Taylor Decker and Kirby Joseph are both questionable, but I read somewhere that Decker is not going to play until like week 4 or something. I don't. But
that's a big one.
But also we are Grady Jarrett is also questionable for us, which is a big one because he stops the run pretty well. But it's up to the coaching staff, but I barely see anyone that only practices once a week and limited at that to play on a Sunday. I mean, the only person that I can give you an example of who miraculously did it was last year when we were playing the Commanders. Jane Daniels had a rib injury and was limited on Friday and played on Sunday. And then we ultimately lost that game. But
yeah, and that started the downhill spiral and everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's something that I just have to say. I said that the Lions, are still the Lions, and they are the superior team of all talent. But again, I don't think they can go from looking that bad to looking like the greatest show on turf in week 2. So I think that we actually have a better chance than people think. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to be, a 30-10 blowout win because it's not. But the Lions are also looking at or are also learning a new defense, and their defense didn't look great last week either. And the Packers are comprised of wide receiver twos for all their wide receivers, and like tight end twos for their tight end number 1 and number 2.
Tucker Kraft is very good.
Well, actually,
He's
I
nuts.
take that back. They've got one good tight end. Tucker Kraft is legit. I mean, my dad has him in a couple fantasy leagues, and he actually sat him in one league, and I'm like, oh, you should have played him in our league. But so I don't think that it's going to be like a blowout win, but I do believe that the Bears do come out on top. I think the Bears come out on top at like 24-17. I mean, it may look like an ugly win, but a win is still a win. I mean, and I know that you probably are saying to yourself, whoever's watching this, you're just a hopeful Bear fan. You're always going to say that they're going to win. I'm sorry, but all we have as Bears fans are hope. Is hope, because we have been bad for the last,
since 2018.
7 years, and before that, our greatest season before that was 1985. So
no, 2006 went to the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, I wasn't.
And then 80.
We were 3 years old.
Yeah, we were.
We were 3 years old. We weren't. We probably didn't even know what football was when we were 3 years old. And then before that, we were. My dad was, in high school. My dad was 17 when the Bears won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I'm hopeful that the Bears win. And but it comes down to who knows who better. Does Dan Campbell know Ben Johnson better, or does Ben Johnson know Dan Campbell better? And it's going to be an interesting one. Just the Bears need to bounce back from week one because in all fairness, they should have won, and I've said that plenty the last couple of years, but that one they should have won because JJ McCarthy again one good quarter of football, one good quarter of football. So really, this week is actually going to be a very good test of JJ McCarthy because now, if I'm being honest, I will give the edge to the Vikings against the Falcons because the Falcons don't have the right pieces. Their their head coach is probably one of the worst in the NFL. I hope that Ricky Morris does not watch this. I mean, luckily we're small enough that no NFL coaches watch this,
Yeah.
but but I can't I can't hold my tongue anymore. I mean, I think he got lucked into getting that job because there was no like clear cut head coach candidate out there, taking that was gonna take the Falcons job. So they just went with someone that was familiar.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that he's on the chopping block at the end of the year. Not necessarily saying I'm wishing for it, but might see it coming. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Michael, do you think there's anything?
Um. Okay. This matchup, Lions Bears.
Uh-huh.
Gonna give my opinion. Lions looked awful, awful against the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
If we play like if we can stop their run, because obviously they're not stop it, but if we can contain their run where they
Yeah.
have to throw, I just don't see them. I don't see us losing this game. I don't think we're gonna win by like 7. I think we're gonna win by like 3, like a field goal.
Oh well. Okay. Okay. Let me ask you this. There was some kicker news for us. Uh, Jake Moody signed with the practice squad. Um, and I don't really think that deserves its own banner for a topic since we're
No.
just gonna touch on it really quick. But who do you think trots out at kicker, Cairo or Moody on Sunday?
Santos is gonna kick for us, but
Uh-huh.
do I think Jake Moody should be in there? Probably because he can kick over 40 yards.
Well, he can kick over 40 yards, but the
Is
question,
he accurate? No, but at least it has a shot to go in.
yeah, that's true. I mean, we'll see because I mean, the inactive the inactive um lists will come out probably like when we're recording our show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right when that comes out, right when we start recording, it'll probably come out. So maybe we'll see some Jake Moody tomorrow, and again, it's for Moody, it's not about his leg, it's about his accuracy. So,
Yeah.
um, but we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Sorry that there wasn't a lot to talk about, but hopefully we are energetic on Monday after a win, even if it's an ugly win. A win is a win. All right.
Yep.
Just be patient because we have to be patient with new head coaches. I mean, it we have to be patient with anybody. So, but we actually, for once, have the best, or at least what we think of is the best head coach candidate out there. So, um, yeah, I think we're gonna sign off for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you on Monday with
Later.
Jack. So.